Thank you for taking the time to learn about StrandVision digital signage and our software system. I'm Mike Strand, president of StrandVision, and I'm hoping to familiarize you with how the website works, how to navigate it, and give you a hands-on overview of how to create digital signage. First off, we're going to go to strandvision.com. And here you'll see that there's a set of menus, and up in the upper right is a login area. So once you get a client login, which you can do for free for 30 days, you log in up at that area right on the strandvision.com website. There are several different areas here. The digital signage area is a good overview of what is digital signage. We also have about a dozen industries that we work with. If you're interested in corporate sustainability, we have different tools for converting PowerPoints or that sort of thing. The signage content is actually a good place to go through at some point, where it shows an overview of the 24 different page types that we work with. And we'll get into page types in a little bit here. There's also sample signage. Actually, the industry solution things shows sample signage for each different industry. There's also the ability to get free digital signage, which you can also see right on the home page here, where you click on this test drive button. The test drive is actually a wizard with 5 steps, and that actually will create the account for you, and you can add signage pages right to the system real easily. And the last step is where you create the free account that works for 30 days. And the nice part is that if you decide to purchase the system, that signage content is actually the same account. So everything you've done up to now will continue. Service and support, there's a lot of different things here that you can look through at some point. Common questions and answers, knowledge base, design tips and tricks for content. And there's a fair number of things that we've learned in the 20 years we've been doing this. The other thing that's there is video tutorials, and that has about 100 different videos that are particular to an area of the website. And the one nice part too is when you go to a area, if you see this little yellow video projector with an eye in it, you can click on that, and that will actually take you to the specific video for that area. So as you navigate through the site, if you see that either in the headings or inside of the body of the articles, you can click that to get more details. News and events, there's a lot of different things here that could also be potentially worthwhile to look at. One thing I would like to recommend is that you do go through and take that test drive, and so that's the free digital signage. And here you can see you pick the industry that you're working with and go through. And the other thing I'd like to recommend is that as you come up with questions, feel free to shoot us an email, give us a call, or chat with us. That's what we're here for, and we like hearing from you and look forward to helping you. At this point, I'm actually going to log into the account, and of course I have an account that I've set up, and so I'm going to log into my testing account. And at this point, you'll see that there is, instead of StrandVision digital signage, it says StrandVision my signage. And so that's an indicator that you're actually in your secure area. And here in the Your Account area, You can hover over the top to get the menu, or when you're in the menu, it also shows on the left side here. But the summary gives you just a summary of your account. Your company gives you your address and contact information. There's also background information such as your mission statement, vision, that kind of thing. The hours that your business is open. And locations is actually where you can specify which locations you have. One thing that's unique about our system is we have display groups, and display groups are set up so that you can set content or you can add users to a specific area. And so if content is on this top level, all of StrandVision digital signage, that will actually show up on all of these different accounts underneath. And so with the StrandVision system, you can have multiple channels and multiple players. And the way that we charge for the system is that we charge per player. And so when a player gets installed with a PC that's connected to a screen, the installation process actually specifies which of these display groups that it's going to show. And so, as I mentioned, if there's content in the olive digital signage, it's actually going to show in Asia, Europe, USA. But if you specify that it's Menominee, Wisconsin, that will only show the information for that location. So the other thing is you can actually rename it, set owners, that sort of thing. And then you can also see the location details, which is actually the player that is running on the system. And you can also see the count of how many players are running, when they've last been used, that sort of thing. There's also license details, and if you purchase hardware from us, it shows warranty details also. The Manage Users area, when you first click into it, it gives you the ability to change your particular information. And if you click on the Add Edit User Accounts, this actually lets you create new users. And as I mentioned with the display groups, you enter the contact information. Primary, or the mode is either admin or edit only. And edit only users can only do content, whereas admins can do more. You can set the primary purpose, and so this designates what kind of emails they're going to get as the system comes up. So if the technical contacts will get notifications if the player stops communicating. Administrator, billing, will get information when renewals come up, that sort of thing. The display group is where you can actually specify which location or what access this particular user has. So again, if you choose the Menominee, Wisconsin, that user will only be able to change content for that one display group. And we'll show you that in a little bit here. You can also specify a password. I usually leave it blank, and then the system creates a random password, and it sends an email to the user at the email address you specify here, and it will send the email with information on how to change the password for the user. Configure emails actually lets you add names and other people that are not actually able to log in. There's also preferences, and when you first get created into the system, you'll be set into a beginner user mode. And so when you're in beginner user, it shows less information. When you go to intermediate, it shows more. And most people will set it to intermediate right away once they've gone through the training, just because it gives you a little more capabilities. The other thing is when you see this little eye icon, if you click on that, that will actually show you an article about that particular area. So it gives you a little extra help there. Background music, if you have background music enabled, this is where you select the categories that you want to play. Renew, add, enhance services is where you can activate your subscription or renew it. And essentially you just, well, mine is actually active, so it's not giving the renewal type of thing, but otherwise there's a folder icon for the renewal system. Next, I'm going to click on Signage Pages, which goes to the Modify Pages area. This is where you'll do most of your signage content changes. And the way it works is there's a list on the left that is kind of like PowerPoint, where as you click on each one, it updates the information on the right side. And as you go through, if you created the test drive account, you will have whatever signage pages that you added with the wizard. And a lot of times weather is one of the things that you're going to add in. And so that would look similar to this. And one thing you'll notice is that there is a page name which matches what's on the left. And the page name is for your reference so that you can find out what you're editing. There's also a page type drop down, and the page type is those couple dozen different types of content that we talked about earlier in the page content area. And the most commonly used ones, weather obviously is one that is used frequently for one page, and potentially the forecast and radar. But once you set it up, you really don't need to do that. Photos, the random photos and multiple photos are frequently used, and random photos selects one photo of the complete list. So let's say you have a employee outing and you have event photos. What this does is it allows it so that each time it goes through the signage loop over here, it will pick one random photo. And that's many times better than using the multiple photos, which actually shows all of the photos in sequence. Because what we've found in the 20 years we've done this is that people who are able to guess what's coming up next will actually stop looking at the signage, and so then your messages won't get across. So wherever you can, it's always good to use random photos and images. One thing, we do actually have the Convert PowerPoint system, and every time you run that, it's actually going to set up a multiple photos and images. So if it ends up that you do an outing or event, once you add it in, you can go back into this Modify Signage area, find it in your list, and then change it to random photos if you want to. The paragraph fixed and scrolling are commonly used. It's kind of a quick way to get information onto the sign, and you can add a photo next to it and a title and a subtitle. So it's a very quick and easy way to get some content on your screen. Obviously the PowerPoint is pretty fast, as well as the photos. There's also an RSS XML feed that you can add in, and by default, if you add this page in, we pull up Yahoo Top News as one of the samples that's pre-configured for you. And you can actually change that to whatever you find on the website or on the World Wide Web. Communications libraries are also a valuable system where we have created different content for you, and each time it goes through the signage loop, it'll grab a different random article from that particular category that you choose. So, and some of the common ones that have a lot of information on it are quotes and trivia. There's also things on morale, improving morale, financial tips, and all kinds of different things. So when you get a chance, it's always good to add in one or two of these because they're very dynamic and, again, keeps your signage fresh so that your viewers can't guess what's coming up next. The current time is also valuable to show what the current time is, and you can actually specify different time zones also if you want to. Count up, count down is handy for counting down to your company picnic or something like that. So it'll actually count the number of days, hours, minutes, seconds until the event starts. So People database is actually beneficial, where you can automatically display birthdays and anniversaries of either employees or your members, and I'll show you in a bit how to get that set up where you can import those people in. And that's probably the largest part of it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a new page, and the way you do that is to click on the add button. These buttons on the top are also repeated on the bottom, so depending on which side of the screen you're at, you can click either one. And so I'm going to click the add on the top here, and it says that it added a blank page. And trying to find where it went. Okay, so there's a blank page, and when you first add it in, it gives you this warnage message saying that the signage page name is empty and that sort of thing. The page type, the system actually looks at which kind of pages you've got in your system, and it'll select the most commonly used one. And so in my case here, it's the paragraph fixed, which is a good example to go through. The page name, I'm going to put test page, delete this, because I actually don't want it to go live. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select no for enabled page playback. And what that does is it allows me to see it, but it won't go live to the main signage in the cafeteria or break room. And you'll also notice there's a duration here, and the best option in most cases is just to leave that at 0, and the system will automatically determine how long to have it up based on how much text there is. And it has a reading speed in the preferences, so in the case of text types pages like this with paragraph, or other types of text ones too, it looks at how much text is on the screen, and it changes how long it's up there based on the reading speed that's configured in the preferences. Display groups is another thing that you can change around. If you've only done the test drive, you'll only have either all of or your particular city, and so it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. But as you add signage content or signage channels to your business, say you have a break room and you have different locations, maybe the gym, and multiple buildings, you can actually have it so that when you add the content, it actually shows the categories above it. So like in this case, mine actually has a fairly diverse display group, and so when this display group is set to Menominee, it'll show content here. It also shows content from USA, which is up above that. I guess it shows East Coast as well, then USA, and then all of StrandVision digital signage after that. So Playback schedule is a very handy thing where you can set it up to, if you need it to play on a certain day or a certain month, you can select that. And there's actually holidays and stuff as well that you can add in. Start playback, you pick the starting date and time with the calendar here, and the same with the stop. And the auto delete will automatically delete the signage page after the stop playback date has happened. And usually it's about 2 days after the stop playback, so you got a little time to bring it back if you need to. And one thing with the photos and the text type pages, we actually default it to automatically stop playback 1 month from when the page is created. And that's actually a setting in the preferences as well, so you can change that to different time frames or have it stay forever. But the one thing we found is we actually had a customer that had a announcement to a company picnic that was 2 years old, so you want to prevent that, and so we tried to make it so this system deals with that for you automatically. Next thing is a title, and so I'm going to say welcome to StrandVision, and paragraph content, you can type in things or you can copy from an email or that sort of thing. So and I'm just going to copy this a few times. You can set it to use the full screen if you want. You can do a bulleted list, and you can also upload a photo that goes next to it. I'm going to save this, and now it's actually been saved. And even though it says enable page playback, no, and one thing you'll notice is there's a pink background here, and anything that has a pink background is an indicator of why it's not playing on the production signage. But if you go all the way to the bottom, there's a preview page button, and when you click on that, it opens up the signage, and here it actually is showing that message that I typed in. My system actually has background music on there too, so you can hear that, which I may try and quiet that down a little here. And when you're done previewing the page, you can click the little square block close button, and if you want to advance to the next page, you can just click the forward. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a photo. So there is a photo with the StrandVision logo. So now if I save that and then preview it, it will show the StrandVision logo to the left, and actually it'll go randomly left and right, again to keep the signage looking dynamic. So the other thing we can do is if we go to the top, we can set it to paragraph scrolling. And what that does, save it and preview the page. And now you can see that it's actually scrolling that text up into that area there. So now if I wanted to convert this to a photos, so if I do random photos and images, now I can, so right now it has the welcome to StrandVision there. There's also a clipping system where you can change it to change how it shows up on there. And probably the normal is none, where it just keeps the aspect. But you can actually stretch it, where if you've got a little bit of space, you can actually stretch it out. And then the clip will actually make the shortest place as big as it can be, and then truncate off the side. So first I'll show you what the none fit keep aspect is. And you do have the option, or it pops up and saves for you automatically. And so this here, it fits the width totally. And the other thing you can do is you can set it to do use full screen. And what that does is it gets rid of the background image. So a lot of times with photos you may want to do that. And the other thing I'm going to do here is upload a few more images. Just picking random ones, don't know what it is. So it looks like these are very small images. But now, since I'm set up to random images, each time I load the page up or it goes through the signage loop, it'll pick a different random one. So when I preview the page, it picked that particular one. And again, since it was low resolution, it didn't do a great job with it. Here's the StrandVision when I reload the page, and when I reload it again, it comes up with the third one. And that's one thing that we do is a shuffle, so that if you have 3 images, once it goes through 3 times, you'll have shown all 3 of them. So now if I'm going to get rid of these 2, and now I'm going to change this to clip keep aspect. And when I preview that page, it actually has it so that the height is filling the screen and then the width truncates off the side. So in this particular case, it's not a good thing, but sometimes it is, depending on the image that you have. So let's see. So let's try. I guess I should have grabbed some different ones here. Alright, so there's a picture of myself. So now if I change this to multiple photos and images and preview the page, that is actually going to show the StrandVision logo first. And it's still got the, I guess I still have the clipping there. And then it should have showed my page there too. And one thing too with our system is we do actually cache information for a couple minutes. Oh, I know why. Yeah, the advance button actually advances to the next page, and in this case we need to have it wait to show the next page going through. So that's that part of it. I'm going to go to this page. This one's actually empty, and so I'm going to delete that page. So that's actually how you do it. And one thing too is if you decide that you want to reorder these, you can just drag it around to where you want to do, and then click the save button to have it change the order of the pages. So. Converting a PowerPoint is pretty easy. You select the display group that you want to send the conversion to. Then you actually just decide whether you want emails on success or just on failure. And there's a few different types of conversions you can do. And then there's a slow conversion and a fast conversion. And normally you'll want to set slow conversion to no so that it'll update the PowerPoint quickly. If you set it to yes, that's sometimes needed when you have fonts that aren't coming out right or that sort of thing. And the slow conversion actually sends it to our office, runs it on PowerPoint, on Microsoft Windows, converts it, and then sends it back up. So there's a lot of steps involved. But essentially you just upload it and it'll create a new page for that. If you have the streaming video package, you can click on Manage Videos, and that you can upload video is pretty much the same way. There's also a YouTube system, so as long as you have a non-copyrighted YouTube, you can upload a YouTube video by copying the link and clicking the Add YouTube button. And there are actually, at the bottom of the page, a list of all of the different formats that can be converted here. So, under reports, there's actually a lot of different things that you can look at to get information. So usage is people who have logged in. Changes is what changes have had happen to the system. Content is kind of a handy one where it'll give you a preview of, or kind of a printable preview of all the different pages. So these are all my different pages where I've got a counter and a lot of different text and stuff. So that can be handy to be able to find a page. Like if you see a photo up there that you don't know where it is, the content one can help you with it. Snapshot actually shows you all of your players and how well they're communicating. I don't actually run mine full time, so all of mine have red stoplights, but if they're all green, that means it's communicating properly. So that is most of what I have to cover, and I again want to thank you for your time, and also remind you that if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas, please feel free to give us a call at 715-235-7446 or email sales@strandvision.com.